Welcome to Another Triathlon Podcast, the podcast that brings the electrifying world of triathlons right into your headphones. Journey into captivating conversations, share the excitement of race recaps, enjoy the humor only a triathlete would understand, and join us as we debunk myths and bring you the bare, thrilling truths of the triathlon world. So feel your heart pound, breathe in anticipation, and get ready to dive into the world of triathlon. This is Another Triathlon Podcast. Enjoy the ride.
Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast, where we dive deep into the exciting world of triathlon, share training tips, and bring you up to speed on the latest race results. I'm Jenna Sayre, and I'm joined by my fellow Mono coach, Fede, and our triathlon enthusiast, Josh. How are you guys doing today?
Doing great. It's been a great weekend of racing, so excited to get into this episode for sure, and had a good weekend myself. So all in all, great day.
Excellent. Well, we definitely have a packed episode once again. I know I keep saying that, but there's so much going on, especially this weekend. We had a ton of exciting racing. So we'll catch up on our own training, answer some of your questions, share our latest What the F moment of the week and our social media post. And as always, dive into the latest race results and make a few predictions. So what we also have coming up today is something pretty exciting. We do have a pro athlete coming to join us for an interview a little bit later on in the show. We're going to have Marc Dubrick joining us. He has an awesome story and is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to triathlon. And a pretty decent swimmer, at 70.3 Oregon this weekend. He went 16 minutes. So we'll have to add a little bit about that and ended up finishing fourth there. But before we dive into all of that, Fede, how's the training going these days?
Yeah, good. Yeah, training's been going good. Recovery is perfect, and a bit sad now the tour is over. But we have the Tour de France Femmes, so that's good that we get to see the women battling it out in the French mountains. So yeah, excited to see how that turns out.
Absolutely. Do you have any races coming up in the next little while here?
Looking at the calendar, I'm looking maybe 70.3 Cozumel. Yeah, probably late September, the 24th, 25th. So yeah, gonna start a slow build into that, doing a bit of VO2 work to get faster, and then a bit of threshold. And yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Just sharpen everything up. Awesome. How about you, Josh? How's it going these days with training?
Training's going well. It's it was a pretty good week in terms of the running numbers. I did a lot of speed work at the track and pretty much hitting all my paces, which first time going at run heavy triathlon training is going really well, and got outside for my longest run ever again. Every Sunday I'll probably have that for a while now, but my race is September 10th, so I'm still in a pretty good build phase. Got up to just under 3 hours yesterday and almost 19 miles, so about 2,200 feet in elevation, which I did not expect when I did the run that I did. Was able to hit my my late intervals and feeling good today. So just had a little bit of a snafu on the hydration system on the way back yesterday. Lost my valve, so I was able to had to figure out how to get the last few carbs insulted, but we made it. And, feeling good.
That makes it a little bit tougher, try to get it out while you're running. I heard you had to dump it upside down to try to get the last few drops on that run.
Yeah, I stopped the Garmin watch. I hate doing that. and I stopped, and I walked around. I made sure I marked my exact spot, and I had to lift the backpack up just to get the last few stops. And so I think I stopped twice on the last couple miles coming in just to make sure I did not bunk, because this is my first time getting in those territories too, right? I think 17, 18, 19 miles, you start to worry about that stuff. So especially in the heat, who knows what the race is going to be like on September 10th. So I felt yesterday was an important day to get outside and do the whole thing. I've been kind of splitting it inside, outside, and got in, and I ran to the track I normally run at, and did some laps there, and then ran back home, and all went well. So now we'll see how the speed's coming, because I got a 5K race this weekend coming up, and hopefully see if I can get on the podium and go sub 20. We'll see.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll definitely be a lot faster than the 5K you tried to do after the threshold test on Crutch Your Legs here.
I hope so. It should be. That's for sure. No
Absolutely.
FTP test the day before.
Yeah, that's just mean. Awesome. Yeah, and from my side, just kind of training away. I actually got a pretty solid week of training in this last week. I've got Ironman Calgary 70.3 coming up this weekend in my little pretending to be Christian Blumenfeld with a bunch of races in a short period of time. And, luckily biked pretty hard at that last race I did, so I didn't have to run too hard and didn't destroy myself. So yeah, it was nice to put in a solid block and do some race course testing. Now, usually I don't go out and ride the course before an event because, well, you're traveling and that's a lot of effort, or driving around in a car just doesn't quite do the same thing. But Calgary 70.3 is local-ish. It's like an hour away from my house. So decided this weekend to go out there and check out the course. They just came up with a new course with a lot of U-turns, which are a little challenging, and a lot of corners. So, and unfortunately, a lot of the corners are on downhills, which makes it a little interesting, we'll say. But yeah, it's definitely a course where kind of knowing those corners and knowing where you can push it should save me a couple minutes on the bike, which helps because I'm good at duathlon and Ironman. Anything shorter is challenging. So we'll see. If we just do the 2 70.3s back to back, I'd be in familiar territory.
You got it. And you've been doing some heat training too, right? So
Definitely. Yeah. And just actually got a sauna like 4 years ago when I first did Kona, and it broke a while ago. So I hadn't been doing any heat adaptation training, and it's still like pretty chilly here in the morning. So it's harder to get the heat prep here. Now, race day is looking like it'll be like in the 60s, so it'll be fine. But Calgary randomly likes to turn it up. Like this weekend, it was in the 90s, and it was like 2 days that, and you're like, where did this come from? So you never know. I've been spending lots of time training in the heat on those random hot days, and then some time in the sauna too. So should be good. Whatever race day throws at me there. Likely it'll be chilly and very windy, which is typical Calgary. So it should be fun.
Got into the sauna on Friday too. So I was thinking of you talking about how you were doing that on the heat training. So after my swim on Friday, I think I got 20, 25 minutes. I did not get my heart rate up as high as you did.
That's the new game with the heat training. How high can it go?
Yeah.
Got it. Last one was 140, just sitting still, which is like, okay, this is doing something.
Yeah.
That's impressive. And I have a pretty high heart rate. Like I can get mine up there. I think my average heart rate yesterday was around 165, 170, something like that. So, I mean, but that's normal for me. I mean, my max heart rate's around 200, 204, somewhere in that range. So 165, 170 is a pretty good pace for me. And I don't really feel like I'm working too hard. So to get my heart rate above 115, 120 in a sauna, we'll see.
Yeah, it's funny. That's why I'm such a fan of threshold tests, because there are those outliers. And actually, I'm the same way. Like my threshold is like 185 kind of thing.
Oh my God.
So aerobic work is 150 to 165, and that's just zone 2.
Yeah.
Then you go look at Lionel Sanders, and I think his threshold is like 160. So,
Yeah. Like 140. Like I think his max heart
Right?
rate is like 168 or something.
Yeah, it's so individual. So I'm a massive fan of threshold tests. So I'm doing a webinar for pacing for 70.3s, and one of the comments on there, what I said was that pacing for 70.3 should vary pretty significantly depending on your finish time, right?
Yeah.
So a person doing 3.5 hours is a lot different than someone doing 8 hours. And got one response back on there saying, well, no, I think we're all just doing the same percentage. If I look at my heart rates, I'm in like zone 4, zone 5 for most of a 70.3. I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, your rate zones are not right.
Yeah. No.
You cannot hold zone 4 for 5 hours. That is not a thing.
Unless you're eating the entire time.
Yeah. Oh, it's so funny. But anyways, we will actually, since we're talking about training stuff right now, how about we dive into some of the questions from the audience to kick things off?
Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this one comes from one of our Mana team members, Joe. How can I record carbs in a workout for Training Peaks? So it looks like he's trying to find a good way to record how many carbs he's taking in during a workout so that he can start to track where he feels good, if it's enough, if it's too little, and what some of the best ways to do that are. One thing I've used in the past is just using notes in Training Peaks. And there you can pretty easily say how many carbs you used during that training session. And then in the description section, just say how you felt, if it was great, awful, if you're puking, bloated, or felt amazing. So that's kind of one of the ways I've had athletes use it in the past. But how about you guys? Have you tried to track carbs in relation to workouts to see if there are any trends there?
Yeah. So first things first is that it's great that you want to, record your carbs and your intake and everything. I've used a couple of apps. The best one that's worked for me the most is my MyFitnessPal. I think it's an Under Armour app, and it's pretty easy to. I mean, in the beginning, it's a bit of a hassle to set it up, and your height, your weight, your gender, how much calories you eat per day, your diet, and everything. But once you set it up, it's very, very easy, and you can just scan the barcodes on whatever foods you buy, and it'll upload immediately. And nowadays you can sync everything, so you can go into your Aura Ring or your Whoop or Training Peaks or even Strava. So I'm an old-fashioned guy, and I like to log everything in paper. So I have a notebook, and every time I want to lose a couple of kgs for a hilly race, I log everything with pen and paper, and nothing beats a good pen and paper type of log for me.
I am the complete opposite. I don't write anything down ever. I'm so tied to my phone. But no, that's definitely a good idea. And MyFitnessPal, I've had a few athletes use as well. It definitely helps there. How about you, Josh? Any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think when I started training again, now coming up like 3-4 years ago, really focusing on getting in shape for purposes. I started using MyFitnessPal and just to get an understanding of the macros and where I needed to be and how I reacted to having so many grams of protein and carbs and fat and the importance of all that. So playing around with that kind of percentage. And I think for the most part, I was around like a 50-30-20 split, and was able to drop the weight I needed to and have the energy I needed. But that was different training. So you got to tweak that as you go along. And now getting even further into it too, tracking those carbs. Great. I know I need carbs when I'm out running, but and biking, but I also need salt. And so yesterday I had a lot of sodium and a lot of carbs in my 2-liter water. But I had enough, but that's easy to measure, right? You know exactly how many carbs you're putting in, you know how many gels I took and how many chews I took. So for me, that on that training session, how I felt afterwards, that was the right amount on that day for that temperature, right? And all that plays into it too. So it's just something you got to play around with and have a lot of different variables during your training that hopefully come race day, you know exactly what that day means for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that's always good to do as you're getting ready for race days is definitely those nutrition practice workouts. If you're looking at, say, Ironman or 70.3s and stuff, great way to do it is to do a long bike ride, practicing your race nutrition, and then do a run afterwards. And it doesn't have to be a half marathon afterwards to see if your nutrition is working right. It can be a 20 to 30-minute run near race pace for at least the first 15 minutes, just to get an idea, because you'll know pretty quickly if your stomach is happy with what you took in or not. Because at the end of the day, you could be the fittest person in the world. If you're puking on the side of the road or completely bonked, it just does not matter. That's something I said 1,000 million times to athletes in there. So it's always good to just test that out beforehand so you have a good idea of what to expect race day and a plan going in. But we have our next question here is actually along the same lines. It's all about nutrition today. We have from Steve, how about some fueling options for the bike that aren't just gels and chews and sugar and sweet stuff? Sometimes you definitely need to mix it up with the flavor profile. So do you guys have any favorites on what to eat? How about we start with you, Josh?
It all depends on what your stomach can handle. And keep in mind, you might be able to handle it on the bike. So you got to test it. Like we were just talking about, Jen, you got to test it on a race day conditions.
I think he's asking more just in training. So something, if you're not doing the race day nutrition, just want something good to eat and have some fun or have a different flavor.
I've taken as much as a protein bar. I mean, I'm able to handle it, especially on the bike. And I think for me, just seeing how I react to that and trying to get some extra fuel in that way. I know it's not ideal, but if you can handle it, honey stingers, some other stuff like that, has always worked. I mean, I'm trying to think some of the other crazy things I've tried. I'm very lucky with what my stomach can handle.
Fair
I
enough.
can pretty much try anything. Bananas. I think that's another one. As long as you can carry it and have it with you in a training setup, why not?
Yeah, and the bike is so much easier. It's so much easier on your stomach without the bouncing up and down of running. How about you, Fede? What are some weird things that you've tried or things you've tried that aren't so sweet just to change it up on the bike?
Well, just like Josh, my stomach can pretty much handle anything. I can eat rocks and my stomach wouldn't be upset.
Don't do that.
I would recommend testing that one though.
Yeah, no, there's not a lot of carbs in rocks, so don't try it. But
We'll
no,
help you on those.
yeah, no, I've tried everything and gels and all the boring stuff. But when I don't have any gels and I need a quick carb fix, just maple syrup or straight up gummy bears, just anything that I can just get some quick sugars in, Coke, donuts, everything. So I don't limit myself when I'm training in what I eat because it's just easy energy and quick to access. When I'm training for a race and it's getting closer to the event, I might get a bit more specific with nutrition and all of that. But when it comes just to fuel the session, just everything goes really.
Yeah, definitely. And for me, it definitely depends on the time of season. When you're trying to get away from that sweet stuff, a lot of early season, I actually use a lot less carbs and more fats and proteins during that time. And one, it's just nice because, like he was asking about here, it gets away from that sweet flavor profile, which you need a break from. But also helps a lot with that fat adaptation so that you're a little bit more metabolically flexible. But one of my favorite things for having something that's not sweet on a ride is there's this great coffee shop like 2 hours away from home that I like to go right up there, have a coffee and a sausage roll. That is like so good. It's salty. It feels like it is such a good treat kind of midway through there, especially been on the sugars for a while. It's nice to mix it up and have something just salty with protein. And if you are not practicing race nutrition, then definitely getting some protein on board in some of those long bike rides is not a bad idea. It'll really help kind of kickstart that recovery process before the ride is over and just make sure you're not so depleted afterwards. So it helps with some muscle growth too. So yeah, there's definitely all sorts of treats you can enjoy on the bike, but that's the fun part about the bike. You can eat almost anything. Just make sure you get some calories and you're good to go.
Peanut butter too. Throw that stuff in there.
Peanut butter Cliff Bars. Those I like on the bike when I'm going long too.
Yeah.
All sorts of nuts and seeds that works as well. Macadamia nuts, pine nuts, walnuts. Those are usually pretty calorie dense and they fill you up. And if you don't want to have any sugary stuff, those are pretty good because there's plenty of fat in those. And like you said, Jenna, if you want to get fat adapted, that's a pretty good way to start fueling yourselves on the easy rides. Like if you're doing like a VO2 type of session, maybe stay away from those. But yeah, other than that, go for the nuts.
Absolutely easy to carry along too. Well, let's jump we've got some social media posts of the week here. Josh, what do we have today?
Well, I think it was a tough week. There were a lot of good posts that I saw with all the racing going on. But we did my prediction from last week almost pulled off an upset. But what he did do was have the most authentic and real and amazing finish line post and experience with his two kids, Ben Hoffman, meeting him at the finish line at Lake Placid as he surprised everyone with a second place running. And his two kids wearing checkered shirts and both of them with the medal, being able to put the medal on Ben. And then just them doing the whole Iron Kids. The post is awesome. It's his most recent reel and post from the day. It's his Medal Monday post. Just really cool because he's 39, almost 40. And this is wrapping up his full Ironman career at this point. So really cool to see him come back to a place he won in 13 years ago, something like that. And really hadn't been since in 12 years. So just an awesome post and just shows the type of man he is and that whole family experience and enjoying it with the kids and the whole Iron Kids racing, and just a really cool thing to see. And it kind of wraps into why we all do this too, right? It's not just about us. It's about the support crew and the Sherpas and the family and the kids and all of them getting to experience it as you get further into your career.
Yeah, it's great to see that he's enjoying it and taking in those last few years because, you never know when it's over unless you're on Fredino, who's just going to go keep crushing it forever. I'm sure we'll see how it goes with the World Champs this year, but it's nice to see that and setting a good example for the kids and family. So that was really great to see.
Something to say about lowering your expectations going into a race weekend too, right? Because I mean, everything he talked about was just kind of like, I'm not sure where I am in my training. I've done a few of these like guided Ironman Olympic distance and haven't really done much. And then the guy shows up and
he
was on Skipper's heels too. I mean, he cut it down to like a minute 15, minute 20 on the run, and he was coming. And man, that rain hit, and then Joe just took off.
Never believe a pro when they say, "Oh, I don't know how I'm feeling about this race." That's usually when they're the best. I remember Sevi Kinley. He's a master of that. He would say, "Oh, training has been going very bad, and I don't know if I have it," and then he goes and wins the race. So every time a pro says that, it's usually to throw people off, and they just go and smash it.
You know who does that a lot was in the Super League, last few Super League races a couple years ago, Henry Skuman. Every time he was sick or had something going on, and then he'd go smash it. It's like, okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Believe him.
Totally. And then, so I brought up another social media post here that I found pretty entertaining that's been making its rounds is Joe Skipper. So he had a great result, obviously, over the weekend. But you could tell at the finish line, he was just so done. And you see him in this post-race interview, and he's sitting down with the woman interviewing him. And she's making a hand gesture just to emphasize what she's saying. And he thinks that she's reaching out to shake his hand. Reaches over and shakes her hand. He is just so cooked at this point.
Totally. Now, the funny part is, watching that live, I actually thought she was reaching out to shake his hand, and I was wondering why he didn't shake it. Now it's gone the complete opposite way, where it's like, Joe, what are you doing?
But I definitely know that post Ironman fog, like especially when you put it all out there and gone hard, it's just there's no more brain cells to rub together at that point.
Yeah, I think that the most familiar feeling for people to get a feeling for what Joe felt is when you are super jet lagged or haven't slept for hours, and then you're trying to articulate or do some simple math and you just can't. That's a feeling that probably Joe had, just what am I doing here? What's the meaning of it all? Who am I?
Why do I put myself through this?
Yeah.
No, it's very entertaining. And actually, it has me wondering. So he usually does a beer mile the day after his Ironman races. So I wonder if he ended up winning that. I think he had a string of second places. So we'll have to check that out and see if he got another win today or not. I can't. Running fast the day after an Ironman while chugging beer, that sounds brutal and awesome and terrible all in one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's who he is.
He is a machine. Okay, let's jump into, we've got our what the F moment of the week. And this one fired me up a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. So there is this woman who was a Kona qualifier. She clocked a 9:36 at Ironman, and she qualified for the Ironman World Championships. Well, she was out for a training ride one day, and she says, as I was cycling Kent, a car deliberately drove up behind me. One of its occupants leant out the window and pushed me off my bike as I was going 20 miles per hour. I went over my handlebars and ended up in a ditch with a broken collarbone that will need surgery. How insane is that? That's nuts. I know it's a big topic with some of the anger that people feel towards cyclists out on the road, but can you imagine just someone, you're out on your ride, enjoying your day, and they just reach out and push you over? That is absolutely insane.
No. Yeah. No.
Have you guys ever dealt with any crazy situations with cars getting close or anything?
I've been lucky. I haven't had too many close calls. Now, I am pretty careful about doing a lot of riding inside, because of New England and in the weather, not much time to ride outside, but and having a kid and work and all that, being an age grouper, it's balance for me. But going out, even yesterday, going out for my long run, something as simple as a freaking dog barking at you like out of a pickup truck from a foot away. I mean, stuff like that can startle you. It's not safe, and especially this year too. It just seems like the stories and the incidents of pros and age groupers getting hit or having accidents because of other vehicles. That number's getting higher and higher. I don't know if it's because we hear about it more because we're involved in the sport so much, but it's frightening for sure.
How about you, Fede? Have you had any close calls with cars?
Yeah. I mean, like Josh said, and it's very dangerous out there. And I mostly train indoors, but I've been, I've seen it firsthand when people driving they just assume that the road belongs to them. And even if you're riding on the bike lane, they get angry and upset. And this one time I was riding with a couple of friends, and we were on the bike lane. This is in the States though, not Mexico, because there's very little bike lanes in Mexico City. But we were training there, and this car just accelerates super fast right next to us, maybe 2 inches from us, and cuts us and brakes right in front of us, just like to let us know that, I don't know, he's
the big
yeah. And that happened once, and we were like, what's your problem? Like, we're not messing with you. Why do you hate us? But that's something that us as endurance sports athletes, we have to deal with, and we need to take care of each other. That's one thing. So please be safe out there when you go out riding. And even if you see some other cyclists and they don't belong in your group, or they're from a different team or whatever, just take care of each other. Because we're all just one big family, and people are crazy out there, and some people are just willing to, cross a lot of lines to get their point across. So just be safe and aware that we are riding like on the defensive side. So always expect that drivers are gonna do the worst move, and with that mentality, just make sure you are taking care of yourself and your fellow cyclists, and don't do any reckless stuff.
Yeah,
it's another reason not to have music in your ears too while you're riding. At least I know with running, it's a little easier with the Bone headphones. I know I can still hear plenty, but with the riding, I wouldn't play around with it.
Yeah, so I've actually been hit on my bike by a car. So that's why this really kind of fired me up in there. It was when I was living in Texas, actually, and this guy went out of his way to hit me, which was the worst part. There was a highway, and then there were service roads on either side of the highway, so people could take the turn off to take the service road if they need to make any other turns. And it's West Texas, so it's completely flat, dry, no weather conditions, no one around. So I was riding on the service road in the bike lane on the service road, and there's 2 lanes going in the same direction. So he had to not only not be in the second lane farthest from me, he had to come into the lane closest to me, and then he had to go over the white line to hit me. And that was actually in my first year of triathlon, and that had me questioning whether I'd continue. I was a new cyclist out there. And randomly where it happened, luckily, there was actually a motorcycle parade going on, so there were cops kind of regulating me all down the highway so I could flag one down. And this guy, he didn't get any form of punishment. He got a warning from the cop. He drove out of the lane over the white line to hit me, and there was 0 repercussions for it. So it's definitely a scary place out there, and that is a consideration for why I do spend a lot of time riding indoors. So yeah, you can't account for people who are out to get cyclists, which is crazy to me, because at the most it's going to cause you a few seconds to slow down to go around them. But yeah, definitely stay visible, stay safe out there. And yeah, it's just crazy to me that people still think like that. But anyways, let's move on to some more fun stuff to chat about. And let's jump into some of the race results. We were not short of entertaining races this weekend by any means. Mm-hmm. Let's get started, Fede. What was our first race up?
So we had, like Josh was touching on earlier, 70.3 Oregon in Salem. And this is this was a very, very tough race on the pro field. We had Lionel Sanders, our one and only Martin Ulloa, Trevor Foley, Marc Dubrick, André Lopez from Brazil, just a stacked field. And just so that everybody knows, this is a downriver swim. So that's why everybody was swimming super fast, which is probably my type of race. I'm looking very, very serious into entering this next year with Josh and probably you, Jenna. We'll see. But we had on the men's, Lionel Sanders taking the win after quite a while, actually. He hadn't been on number one for quite a bit, so good that he was on top of the podium, and he was the only one that rode under 2 hours for the 56 miles. Then we had Martin Ulloa coming in second from Chile. Kudos. He's a very, very nice guy. I met him last year at the Mauna Camp in Tucson. So just a very humble guy, and he just loves triathlon. He's been doing it for his whole life. So I'm very happy for him. On third place, we had Trevor Foley, Lionel's training partner. And coming in fourth, we had Marc Dubrick, who had the fastest swim, like Josh said, and the fastest run, 1:09. So, I mean, the only guy that was holding him off was Lionel on the bike, but he had a very, very stellar performance.
It'll be fun to chat with him and hear about his race so soon afterwards. We're going to be chatting with him a little bit here.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the dynamics played, because one thing is the results we see, and another thing is the dynamics and everything that happens, that it's not on paper. So it'll be interesting to see what his thoughts were in this race.
They were right boom, 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 too. Second, third, and fourth. It was like they were all lying down in the finisher chute at the same time at one point.
Yeah, I saw a video with that somebody sent. Martin was running and Trevor was coming in third, and it was maybe a gap of, 20 yards. And you could see that both of them were hurting, and because Trevor couldn't sprint and Martin couldn't run any faster, and that was the time gap between the two of them. So it's just wild.
It looks like a really cool course too. So besides the downriver swim that would help all three of us, I think it looks like a really cool course. I saw some people complaining that it was a flat bike ride listed on the Ironman website and had like 2,500 in elevation. So I'll take 2,500 in elevation.
Yeah, any day of the week.
Yeah, awesome. What did it look like on the women's side?
On the women's side, we had defending champ Danielle Lewis, who we know she's a stellar bike runner. And she took the win again in 3:59. So we are in the day and age now that we're starting to see pro women going under 4 hours, which is very exciting. Then we had Leslie Smith from the USA again, and then Batia Baird coming in third, running up the podium. And this was not as close as the men's race because Danielle was 7 minutes ahead of second place. So yeah, she was a different zip code on race day for sure.
Was hers a course record? Because I know Lionel's was.
I think so. Yeah, I believe so. Because she rode she was just out of sight, out of mind from everyone from the moment she hopped on her bike. Amazing performance, and you could see that this race meant a lot to her. So she wanted to keep number one for next year, and she got it. So good on her. And she ran a 1:21. Actually, a couple of women ran a 1:21. First place, second place, third place, all ran a 1:21, but she was miles ahead from the bike, on the bike, like riding 6-7 minutes faster than the next one.
Yeah, I think one of Marc Dubrick's teammates actually full-sended the bike knowing she wasn't going to be doing the run. So she's still in a training protocol where she's not fully training on the run yet. So she was like, I think Lisa, she came out like 6 or something in the swim, and then I think she actually passed Danielle on the bike. But again, knowing she was on a walk jog protocol for the run, and still finished like 10th or something like that. So, but I mean, amazing stuff by all of them.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, let's jump into the big one this weekend, Ironman Lake Placid, and let's see how we did on our predictions too. Betty, how'd Lake Placid go?
Lake Placid, and this was a very good race, and we had, Junkyard Dog Joe Skipper taking the win in 8:03.46. Then we have the half in coming in 8:06.06. Matt Hansen, which is Josh was pointing out that he was coming back from a couple of setbacks, and it was good to see that he had the fastest run. Josh Amberger coming in 4th, and Michael Weiss coming in 5th. And it was a very, very close race because, the half was only 2 minutes behind Joe, and Joe was holding on for dear life on the run. You could see he was, usually we see Joe Skipper run very, very comfortable, and he's always, not always, but most of the time he negative splits the marathon, and this time he was grinding and he had to fight for every single inch to hold off the half because he was moving, and very exciting race to watch for sure.
Well, congrats, Freddie.
Awesome. Yeah, got the right call. Fortunately, my pick, Cody Beals, was down there thinking 10th, but did not top it this time.
I was so surprised because I think he was like, 5th coming off the bike or somewhere around 5th or 6th, something like that. So, yeah, Cody had a rough day after winning last year. So, very interesting. But it was, I was super excited. I mean, for Hoff and all of that, it just became a good race. And I think it's so hard watching the Ironman coverage, too, because you're like, it's 1:19 now, but that was like 15 minutes ago that you got that. And it's like, at this point, day and age, it's 2023. We should have a little better technology on what the splits are in the pro race that we're following. And I almost started watching and doing my own timing, like when they go by like mile 20, like they show them both go off.
Down to the next marker.
Because he was definitely making up, and then I think it was around mile 18 that all of a sudden Joe found it again, and just took off, and what a cool venue to finish into.
Yeah, especially like Ironman races. After watching the Tour de France the last 3 weeks, it's like, oh come on, what are we doing? But big difference. Spends money on coverage, and it's all about the pros. Where Ironman, not quite the same.
Yeah, and you can even tell, like, when they get out into the Adirondacks, they weren't even able to cover a lot of the bike course.
Yeah, crazy. Well, let's jump over to the women's side. How did it go out there?
On the women's side, we had Alice Alberts taking the win, running from everyone in 9:16. Then we had the Canadian Erin Snellgrove in 9:21. Jen Arnett from Canada as well in 9:27. And not another Canadian, so Jenna must be super happy. Angela Nath coming in 4th in 9:32. And Japan's Ali Ueda coming in 5th place. And my pick, Joanna Reiter, coming in 6th. So, not too bad.
It's better than
no points for any of us. Oh, no. No points for any of us on this one. We did not call it.
No, we did not.
Well, that was her first win ever, right? First podium ever.
That's awesome.
What a great story from, an age grouper a couple of years ago, not even really, to quitting her day job to winning Lake Placid.
And very different responses to the finish line between her and Joe Skipper. Joe was just, he left it all out there. Definitely tell.
Joe was looking for that Coca-Cola can very quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Ready to go for the beer mile.
Yeah.
I wonder how that's going today on the beer mile for Joe. He would have had to need a lot of recovery and electrolytes before that run, because yesterday he was fried.
It's fun to see that even the pros are human here too, and it takes a lot out of them to cross that finish line and really lay it out there for the win.
Yeah, too. It sounds like both Matt Hansen and Hoff had some issues. I think Hoffman's was clear. It was a leaky flat tire that, like, at the turnaround or halfway, he had to stop and get it fixed. I don't know how long it took him, but that certainly took some time when you're talking about a 2-minute gap and the effort what that did do is he lost that gap between Skipper and Josh. So he lost them on the bike. So he ended up being out there all by himself. And then Hansen, I think, referenced some stuff going wrong that he didn't expect too. So I wonder how close that race would have really been. It just shows you how perfect of a race you do have to get some days to win it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of racing, how about we will jump over to our interview with Marc Dubrick. Stay tuned.
All right, everyone. As we promised earlier, we've got a great guest, busy guest. I think he's done at least 6 or 7 races already in 2023. He'll fill us in on what his calendar's been like. But another champion, another top podium winner this year joining us, Marc Dubrick. I appreciate you taking the time tonight. You just had a race a couple days ago, so really busy and able to join us. So welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me, Josh. Yeah, it's been a busy 2023, but absolutely loving it and got a lot of momentum going right now. So just hopefully going to keep pushing through and excited for some future races coming.
Well, congrats on all the success already this year, especially obviously Alcatraz was a big day. And we'll talk a little bit more about that one. And I'm sure you've had a lot of conversations about that race, but there's a lot to what you bring to the table. And you and I had a chance to talk before and things like that. And it's, we talk about how to go from an amateur into the professional triathlon world and some of the struggles that come with it. Do you want to talk about like how you got to where you are now? What are you, like 5 years outside of college? So, I mean, it's been a pretty good progression and maybe where you came from, where you grew up, what your background was. We all see what your swim and your run times are like. So we know there's got to be something from there in the childhood. But talk about that a little bit and then maybe how you got from where you were in college to now and what types of triathlons got you here.
Of course. Yeah. So grew up a swimmer. I have two older siblings who both swam. So I just kind of followed in their footsteps. You know, parents were dropping them off at swim practices. So of course I had to go somewhere too. So I swam pretty much competitively, and that was my sole focus from probably age 5 until the middle of high school, where I kind of picked up cross country and track. I met this great group of guys on the cross country team. I think all cross country teams are a bit goofy and fun, and I just fit in well with that. Enjoyed running a bit more. You know, I enjoyed being able to breathe when I wanted, enjoyed being able to talk during workouts, and then avoiding the chlorine burn. But classic runner, you know, the injuries come when you're running too hard or running too much. And I had quite a few injuries in college. So in high school, because I liked it so much more, I focused on trying to do that in college. Ran at the University of Missouri, but because of those injuries, was still able to swim. My coach there, he's like, "Hey, you're getting really fit from swimming still. It seems to be helping you also stay maybe a little less injured, or at least I'm bouncing back." So yeah, swim and run background, kind of my whole growing up and stuff, and really new to biking, but because of the swim and the run, that's kind of why I started doing triathlon. My parents were like, "Hey, there's this triathlon. Why don't you just try it? You're just missing the bike, you know." So I had a few triathlons that I did as a kid. You know, I think my first one was when I was 10, and then I did the Junior Elite Series that USA Triathlon puts on. So it's draft legal. Of course, there's age group nationals that USA Triathlon puts on, and there is draft legal now. But this circuit that they had is really a funnel to get people going into the Olympic kind of pipeline, because the Olympic distance is draft legal. And that's kind of where I got started, just swimming and running. And then I guess after that transitioned, my focus to full on running. Like triathlon was not in the picture when I was in college. I just wanted to be the best runner I could be. And then after college, you know, I was like, oh, I could be pretty good at triathlon, you know. So I gave it a go. I had a great opportunity to go all in on seeing how good I could be at triathlons.
That's awesome. I mean, it seems like there's so many different stories and paths on how people got here, right? And it's interesting to see how you've taken that childhood and just kind of ran with it in different directions until you kind of found your sweet spot, or ran with whatever was working at the time. Like in college, it's not as easy probably to do triathlon, and you had the opportunity at Mizzou to run, and you did track and cross country.
Yeah, I did track and cross country. Yeah, amazing opportunity. I ended up walking onto the school. It was the biggest, or onto the team, excuse me. It was the biggest team, biggest school that I could get into. And, pretty good academic school. They were in the SEC. It was the second year that they had joined the Southeast Conference. And I absolutely loved it. I ended up going 5 years because of those injuries, because of the red shirts. But yeah, cross country, indoor and outdoor track. And it was an absolute blast the whole time. Great team there, great coaching staff. And I would do it all over again.
That's awesome. Yeah, I started to go down that path in my own college career. I went to Virginia Tech to play soccer, and back in the day when we were still in the Big East, but broke my leg sophomore year.
Oh,
and that was the end of the soccer career. And I was a goalkeeper, so it was a big aspect of that. So you lose your position, it's hard to come back from in sophomore year.
Yeah, I mean, any injury is it's tough. I mean, it just it hits the brakes on any sort of momentum, and it can be really, really hard to get back. Obviously not impossible, but it's definitely tough.
Yeah. And I think in sports, we're all going to have them. So I think that's it definitely determines or helps put a character to you a little bit on like how
it really does. Yeah. The obstacles are honestly the things that kind of shape your mindset and how you handle things the most. So how you get through things, and it teaches you, but of course you have to learn how to handle them. Yeah, it's not always easy.
Your body changes a little bit there.
Surrounding yourself with the right people too is huge. And I'd attribute that to a lot of my success, kind of, I guess my whole sporting career. So after college, I joined, my current coach still. I've been with him for, I guess going on 4 years, James Peterson. So he's out in New Hampshire, and yeah, without him, and his support, and, he's also just says it how it is. He's not afraid to tell you, it's no lie how weak I was on the bike when I started, actually just weak across the board. You need time in the sport to grow, and there's no reason to sugarcoat how far you have to go just because it's just not going to help you. Of course you have to do the incremental, your process goals year by year, month by month. But, you have to be invested and know that it's going to take a few years, but that's what everyone does. It takes time.
No, I think that's a good reminder for anyone getting into the sport. I mean, for me, it's been just over a year, and I look at where I've come from, and I still why did I not get this finish or these times at this race? And you look back it's only been just over a year.
Right.
So I think I've done pretty well. But it's the same way in the professional field too, right? Mm-hmm. You're building yourself up to get somewhere, and it might not be this year, it might be next year. And you have those goals, I'm sure, with your coach.
Absolutely. Yeah. Consistency has always been a pillar of my coach's philosophy. And then I've just been thinking about how you have to have this right balance of obviously appreciating how far you've come, but then also understanding how much the delayed gratification of it, all my success this year and, some of the success before isn't just because of what I've been doing this year. It's because of what I've been doing with my coach and in training for the last 5 years.
Yeah. No, and you learn so much from each race and each training session. I mean, and then you add in the whole nutrition aspect of it all.
Yeah, there's always something to work on, honestly. Even as in my 5th year as a pro, I'm still learning new things. And of course, I just recently switched my focus to the draft legal, the 70.3 stuff. So it's been a whole new kind of ball game, but it's really fun. I really enjoy this discipline, this side of triathlon. I seem to be a bit better at it as well.
I'd say so. So far, so good. So coming out of college, how did that progression kind of work for you getting now back into triathlon, which you dabbled in younger and then running so much in college? What was your progression from starting out into triathlon? And I know USA Triathlon Foundation probably helped out a little bit there. Probably a lot of sprint triathlon, short distance stuff.
Yep.
How's that progression
Olympic?
looked?
Yeah, so I was I didn't even know about long course or 70.3 when I graduated college. I was still pretty new to triathlon, so I of course knew about Kona, knew about full Ironmans, and knew all this about it. But I was pretty much solely focused on draft legal because any athlete is obviously wants to be an Olympian. That was my goal always as a kid, as a swimmer. I want to be an Olympic swimmer, and then of course I switched to running. I want to be an Olympic runner, and then Olympic triathlon because I just enjoyed it the most. So I went all in on that, and obviously having a strong swim background, you have to have that, because those draft legal swim or draft legal rides, the group is so important, because it's obviously draft legal, so you can just essentially you're working together, and if you can stay in front of those best bikers, or if you're the best runner, you want to be in that front group, and then you're set, to take the win. So straight into that format of training, but again, a lot of it's very similar, like the draft legal type of training and the training I'm doing now for 70.3 non-draft is very, very similar. There's of course quite a few tweaks. I'm doing a bit longer stuff, like longer efforts, I guess, but it's a very similar amount of hours. Of course, that would change quite a bit if I were to switch to the long fulls. But yeah, it was amazing. I mean, so much fun. Like I have so many crazy memories, and I gave it everything I had. And I'm not done with short course. Like I might be doing Super League actually, because the Real Tri Squad just sponsored a team. So I'm really, really excited for that, because I feel like everything's clicking for me. And in short course, and all my triathlon career, it's really just been the bike that's kind of held me back quite a bit. And now that that's clicking, and I'm starting to see so much more of the work I've been doing shine through, I'm really excited to get back to some draft legal racing to see how I can translate it.
I mean, we've talked about it a lot, because we do a section of our podcast going over all the race results, and we go through all of the race results, not just long course and all that. So it's been fun, and I've gotten more involved in it, and man, those races are epic. Like they're just crazy how fast they are. And then you get into the relay teams and things like that. It's impressive. And it's kind of like that, like Vegas spotlight type racing almost.
I think it's going to be the one to watch, like the one that they're going to be able to market the most, because they can do it and they do it in parking lots. Like they can do it indoors. So it's super fast paced. It's super exciting. It's tactical, and you can see the race. Like spectating is just the easiest out of any of the triathlons, because it's so short, it's so fast. So I'm really excited for that, and of course, it's going to be against the best in the world. So I always want to see what I can do and challenge myself, and so I'm really excited for that. That'll be in September after the 70.3 World Champs. I'll go straight to Toulouse and do the Super League racing. But yeah, I did 4 years of draft legal racing, and I had some good results, but just like as I started getting into the WTF circuit, I did too. I just feel like, I just was like, I started making this, I had to make some financial decisions. And when you chase those points at the Continental Cup, because there's Continental Cups, World Cup, WTS, you kind of got to work your way up if you're unsupported. And I was unsupported for the last 2 years, I guess, just funding myself. And obviously I have sponsors and family and coaches, but it was just a big kind of burden, and I knew I could make some more money. And not that it's about the money, but of course you have to be you have to at least make money to do it, right. Break even. So that's kind of my short course. I had one podium, I think, in short course, some good results, but definitely been seeing everything come through with long course.
That's awesome. And we've all enjoyed following that progression this year. I think I had heard you talk about previously how it was like you were excited to get into Clash Endurance and Daytona, and you got there, and I think you had a tough result. If you looked at it yourself and probably said so, I think 16th or whatever it was there, and all of a sudden you show up in Chile and have a great race. And so kind of what happened from December into January? What kind of clicked? What happened in that little short winter block?
Yeah, so that was kind of last second decision to race at Pucón down in Chile. But that was a big motivator, that pretty poor result at Clash Daytona. I mean, it's a challenging race. I feel like I was still really new to the TT bike, and on that course, you just don't get out. It's just a savage bike course. Everyone thinks, it's flat, but that actually is why it's so hard, because you don't leave the TT position ever. Or like if you do, it's probably not like you're not probably doing the best. So I've done it twice now, and I've just done pretty bad at like both times. I will say it was like extremely competitive. Like all the clash races seem to be very competitive. So that's where it was a bit different than Pucón. But yeah, Pucón it was funny. I actually took a week and a half off right after clash. So I came into Pucón with like only 2 weeks of training off my break, which like, of course I had a lot of fitness still. Like you don't lose, like I lost a lot of fitness, but you don't lose everything. It was just a good opportunity to race and hopefully like get the early world spot out of the way. And I happened to just kind of check all the boxes for that trip. And they market it as like the most beautiful race in the world or something. And it is really, really pretty. You have like 5 volcanoes in the distance. And I've been to that place before, so it was easy travel. I knew that. I knew the food, knew a lot of people. And then, just like it just fit well. So I just took my break, got back to training like 2 or so weeks, and then just went down to Pucón and got a nice podium to start off the year.
It's a good way to start the year. And and then you joined your new team too, right?
Yeah. So that was my first race under the Real Tri squad. First podium for the squad. And then now we've just been clipping off podium after podium. Real Tri squads are we're having a really big year. So I'm excited.
No, that's awesome. And so from there, did you do some like other short course stuff in between?
Yep.
Or yeah?
So from there, I was like, that was another reason why I raced so early, because I was still like until March or April, like all in on short course still. So then I actually went back to Pucón for a short course race. There's 2 back-to-back, an Olympic distance and a sprint distance. And I was hoping those were going to be the last like Continental Cups I ever did. My ranking had slipped quite a bit at the end of last year when I was focusing on 70.3 Worlds in St. George. So I had been I made it to like 65th or so, top 70 in the WTS, the World Triathlon rankings. So I was rolling onto the the WTS races and the World Cups I could get on. But because I slipped so much, I had to go back and do these Continental Cups and get a few more points, because I wasn't able to get like subbed on. Like USA Triathlon can sub you onto these races if they want you to, but I wasn't getting any of that. So it was kind of just on my own. And then I got a flat and I raced really poor. So that was kind of not a dagger, but it definitely hurt, because I didn't want to do any more Continental Cups, because you lose money. Like if you win a Continental Cup, you're losing money still. It's strictly for points and racing.
And you're doing all that traveling just to get there and all that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It was expensive. Yeah, I mean, if you win a Continental Cup, it's I think max $1,500, but the flights are $1,500, and then you have the entry fee, you have the hotel, you have the food, But again, it's part of it. It's like you gotta get those points to get to the World Cup. You gotta get those points to get experience. It's like all good race experience. It's like paying your dues, because there's really good people there. There was 3 Olympians, kind of doing the same thing. They got to get these points to work their way up for the Olympic qualification.
So, and you talk about the Olympics. Is that something that you've had as kind of a goal in the past, or is it something that might still be as a goal?
It was for a while. It was hard. Like obviously after those 2 Chilean, the 2 races down there, not racing well, that kind of hurt, because you got to be in like the top 5 Americans. And I mean, I got to like pretty highly ranked, but I didn't have any Olympic points. That was tough, because I couldn't get to those World Cup and WTS. So that was a hard choice, saying like stepping away from short course a little bit. And I didn't fully step away. Like I'm still I could still jump back in whenever. But so right now, probably not like on that Olympic pipeline anymore, because it's next year. It's a 2-year qualification cycle. And at the end of this year, or in September, like they're already starting like where you can auto qualify. So if you perform well enough, you can earn your spot for the U.S. I think it's like top 8 at the grand final, and you can earn one of the 2 or 3 spots that the U.S. might have.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, your name's getting a little more recognizable after a few other races you've had this year too. So, I mean, we'll get into the big one coming up that you got the wild card into, but that probably came from Alcatraz. I mean, you went back to St. George this year too. I mean, how was that going back and doing that course the second time? How do you feel like you handled it, knowing the course a little bit?
Yeah, it was fun comparing. It was a little bit different. Like obviously it was world champs versus North American champs, but it was still a really deep field. So there weren't as many good swimmers, and it was a very like bike favored course because there's like at 12 meters it's a legal benefit. You do get a benefit there. So this year, I feel like a lot of the 70.3s are just. I mean, I don't want to do these races that suit me well. I just want to challenge. Like I want to challenge myself, just like Oregon, like going there for a downriver swim with Lionel and Trevor and whoever else. Like it doesn't really suit me well, but that doesn't matter. Like I want to race. Like I back my swim and my run and my run my swim. Yeah, and my bike's been going well. But St. George was really fun, and it was definitely that like what we were talking about, like that delayed gratification of all this work I've been doing in the off season. Now I can compare the power numbers from Worlds to this year's St. George. And, I went up quite a bit, and I wasn't quite as fast, but it was a bit different conditions there.
Yeah. It's hard to go with the conditions being different and stuff, but
we had a huge tailwind this year actually. Yeah. I forget what happened. It was just a bit slower, or somewhere it was a bit slower time wise, but my power was a lot better. And I don't think I got less aero. Like my position's gotten way better actually. So it was fun to compare, fun to race Sam Long, Lionel, Trevor, like all these super bikers. And then I ran really well there too. So it was nice, like I've actually seen a lot of the stuff I've been doing on the bike translate mostly to like my run, because I'm not coming off the bike as fatigued. And that's really what happened, like showed the most in Oregon just recently. My best run ever.
No, that's amazing. And it's something we've talked a lot about on the podcast too, is like people always want to like get their FTP up and get their numbers up. And that's not necessarily what you're looking for in some of the training. It's that consistency in your pedal stroke and consistency in your training that you can hold numbers for longer. Right. And then when you get off the bike, you still have a little bit left. And in your case, you have a lot left and chasing people down. Coming from that. But
I've realized
it's a biking race now. I mean, it seems like the bikers are just taking it to the next level, and what Sam's done this year and what Lionel.
Yeah, Sam's and his swim, like when he nails his swim, like people better watch out. So I've decided that there needs to be a new swim group, and we need to just go even faster so we can extend that gap to Sam, Lionel, and Trevor, and whoever else bikes like crazy. But that's why I'm excited for the PTO race. Of course, it's a 20-meter draft zone, so that helps the bikers because it's less of a benefit. But there's going to be a really, really strong front group of swimmers, and I think we can put in some good time. Like hopefully I can help out, be part of that group. But yeah, I'm really excited and there's an Aussie exit, and that really, like, the more turns and the more just movement there is in the swim really like can separate. So there's more opportunity for separations in the swim.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that doesn't help you when it's a downriver swim like it was this past weekend. I looked at that race and I was like, wait, that's one I want to sign up for.
Yeah. I think I averaged like 49 seconds or something per 100. Like there was a point in the swim, like 200 meters in, where we were like the flow, it kind of funneled down, and we were moving at like 15 miles an hour. The rapids were 15 miles an hour. It was actually like rapids. There was a little bit of white caps. Like it was insane. It was fun, but I knew it wasn't gonna, there was no way to like separate as much.
Yeah. And everyone's coming out pretty fresh too. So then the bike legs are like even better.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, let's talk about the big race this year, Alcatraz. I know you've done a lot of interviews on this one, so let's try and touch some stuff that maybe you haven't. I mean, obviously there at the swim, there was a big difference coming out, and everyone knows you kind of caught that sight line correctly. You maybe had some little insider information on where to look coming in. So that was great that you were able to do that research, and it worked out well. Did you feel like all along that you were off on your own? Did you know you were by yourself and from there into the bike? Like I look at that bike course, I know I've walked those hills and run those hills, but I mean, biking those, that's a different story. So why don't you talk about that aspect of it a little bit?
Yeah, so Alcatraz was, I don't even know how long ago. It's been a few months, but by far like the biggest win of my career. And I was a pretty late entry. I forget if they had someone drop off, but I emailed them and they're like, yeah, we got one more. Do you want it? It's yours. And I'm like, yes, of course. Like, taking that opportunity. I've always wanted to do the race, and it just fit perfectly into the schedule. And it's definitely a course that I knew suited me really well, like a tough swim. It's an 18-mile bike, hilly, punchy, and I'm not that good technically, but I'm not bad. And then the run, like get me to the run. I'm pretty confident in my run, and even more so now. But yeah, the swim, that's what everyone talks about, and it's an absolute blast. Like jumping off that ferry into it was 57-degree water, but like you have so much adrenaline. Like I was never cold. I wore like a thermal cap, which helped. And so yeah, I knew like I wanted to be alone, like on the swim. I didn't want to give anyone a free like tow. And they all kind of went to the left. Like that's kind of how you don't have to go to the left. You don't have to go to shore first, but they want you to for safety, I think. So they want you to cross the current while you're fresh and then get to shore. And then when you get to shore, you kind of go with the current because it's all flowing to the, like out to sea through the Golden Gate Bridge, under the Golden Gate Bridge. But I just went, I took the beeline essentially. I went straight as I possibly could, strong enough to handle the current, whether, it's at the beginning, the end. And what I've told a lot of people too is like, for me, I'm usually going harder at the beginning, and then at the end, it's actually easier. Like I'm trying to make the separation and then chilling a bit more. And that's for long course. Like short course, you're just kind of going hard the whole time. Like you're getting beat up at buoys, and then you do a lot of times can do a surge at the end because you want to have a clean transition area. I was not expecting a minute, 40. I mean, Eric Lagerstrom, Miguel, like they're good swimmers. So that was a nice surprise. You can never really believe people who tell you times, but I just did I kind of got an idea of where they were. You can only see people a few times on that course too. Like you're kind of alone. You're only able to see people like leaving transition on my bike, and they're coming into transition. But yeah, it was just absolute blast. Like I nailed the sighting, so I was really happy with that. There's just so many uncertainties in that race, and that's what having traveled and done a lot of short course, I've learned that you just kind of roll with the punches. But there's no course preview. You don't get to go swim the course. There's no buoys. There's nothing. Like they give you like these 3 buildings to sight off of, but for the first, like when you jump in, you can't see them because there's waves. So you just kind of going, hopefully going straight. I picked two buildings to sight off. I didn't use the first one. And then after 10 minutes, I was able to see this red roof of the yacht club, and that's where the exit is. So after 10 minutes, I just sighted directly for that. And I knew I was alone because I was looking to the left, taking breaths, and there was a lead boat with a buoy on the back. So like it was moving with them. And that was supposed to be in front of the lead swimmer, but I'm in front of that boat.
They forgot somebody.
Yeah. And then with 10 minutes to go, I think they finally noticed me, and then they shoot ahead of me. And then so essentially I was the lead buoy for a while. But yeah, it was really funny. I kind of thought it was funny that I was ahead of the buoy, and I was like, I must be doing pretty well. If they thought, I could kind of tell where they were. Yeah, then the bike, I pushed the uphills a bit more. You don't really get to preview the course either there. It's a city streets, stoplights, stop signs, lots of cars until the race day. So you just can't send it down this hill and into a four-way stop sign at 30 miles an hour. Death sentence.
Bye-bye brakes, not anything else.
And it's good roads for the most part. There's nothing crazy dangerous, but it's not smooth. So I pushed the uphills, was smart on the downhills. And I just kept thinking, when are they going to catch me? When are they going to catch me? And they really only put 10 seconds into me, Miguel and Eric again. So again, super happy with that. But you don't see them at all. Yeah. It's an out and back course with a little lollipop. That's what I say. So by the time you get back on the out and back section, all the rest of the pros are in there.
They're somewhere else out there.
Yeah. You don't see them because they're in that loop. And again, no time splits on the bike. So I was just doing my own race, smooth and fast, not taking any risks on the downhills, and got to the run, and I was able to see them as I was heading out on the run, and they were heading in on the bike. And I just,
that had to be a good feeling.
It was a good feeling, but I was still not going to count my blessings with, because I couldn't tell who it was. Like Jason West was in there. So
yeah, that's true.
I mean, we all know how fast he is. We know how quickly he can close down a gap. So I just kept pushing pretty much all the way until 5 miles in. I pushed almost like all out, I guess, until you hit the last uphill after the sand ladder. Until then, I did not want to think about the win. I just wanted to think about getting as big of a gap as I possibly could.
You're just having your day still too, right? I mean, you got to enjoy that moment. You know what probably is about to happen, but you're shutting that off and trying to
focus. Yeah, it's there's some trail running in there. You gotta watch your step. There's a lot of steps. There's way more stairs than I thought there was. But then I got to the flat section. I was feeling good, and I just wanted to keep pushing too. I never shut it down. Actually, I just wanted to when you feel that good, it's fun to keep pushing, and that's kind of what happened in Oregon. You feel good, so you just it's not like I wanted to I don't know, put more time. I did want to put more time in them. I wanted to have the fastest run, but I just didn't want to count my blessings too early either.
Yeah, no, and it worked, man, and that's kudos to you for taking that approach too, right? I mean, you're in that race to finish it, so why not see how good you can do it? Now, if it was a full and a 140 and things like that, all right, maybe a little bit different,
right? So that was a blast, and that got me the traction with the PTO and a few other people to vouch for me, I guess, for the wild card. So absolutely stoked for that. I'm from the Chicago area, and my sister went to Milwaukee, so I would say it's kind of a hometown race. There's people there people I know, family, friends who've never seen me race, so that are able to come watch. So I'm super excited to race, and an amazing opportunity to race some of the best triathletes in the world, or some of the best triathletes probably we've ever had. The Norwegians are there, and so many Olympians and legends of the sport, Jan's there. So obviously I think I can compete really well, and I'm talking about all these good people in this race as a respect to them, but I of course think I can compete and hopefully take some of them down.
No, I think you can too. And it makes it special when you start to line up with other people like that. And it really allows you to look back, I would imagine, on how far you've come when you start looking at a start list like that one and some of the other ones that you've been involved with. I mean, Eric's been around the sport for a long time. You've raced him a couple of times this year and done well. Mm-hmm. And now Miguel's another up and comer too. So I think the PTO in Milwaukee is going to be an awesome weekend. I think you got a lot of your start with the USA Triathlon Foundation. It's such a big weekend for them. And what are you looking for most towards that race? Is it being on that line with everyone else? Mm-hmm. Are you nervous about that at all?
I wouldn't say I'm too nervous. I really haven't thought about the goals. Obviously I want to just compete all the way to the line. It's still on the bike. There's obviously process goals that I've always every race. I never think too much about the end result. So of course it'll be starting strong in the swim, making sure I'm in that front group. If I lead out of the water, or if I don't, I'm not too worried. Of course it would look nice to lead out, but because I think I can do well at the end, I'm not too worried about that. And then it's just nailing the bike, being smart with nutrition, and then just being ready to go to a deep, dark place on that bike, and then trusting that I have the legs to run after it, because the bike is going to be huge there.
Yeah, especially with the honest distance in between the bikes and stuff, everything. So
and then just the bikers who are there. I mean, the swimmers who are everyone there is a great athlete. Obviously, it's a top 30 invite, and then they did the roll downs, and then they did the wild cards, and then the wild cards was Jan, Tim O'Donnell, Martin Van Riel, so an Olympian who used to have the 70.3 world record, and then me. So
which is pretty cool, just that list alone.
The people who can swim can bike. The people who everyone there can swim, bike, and run. And that's why it's amazing. And I can't wait to lay it out there. And it's also just like another momentum builder. Like, it's going to be good points for the world ranking. Hopefully I can show some sponsors, like hopefully a bike sponsor there. Like, hey, like I'm here to stay, like support me. And then hopefully just all about building traction right now.
So yeah, I mean, we're excited to watch you at the PTO. I mean, that was awesome to see your name jump into that list, and it's just going to be an awesome weekend in Milwaukee. So looking forward to that. Congrats on Oregon.
We got four RTS people. So I'm traveling there on next Monday, picking up Jackson. So I'm staying with my family, which is awesome. Family dinner. Can't wait. It's been a while since I've seen them. And then picking up Jackson and getting to Milwaukee. And then we'll have Jackson, Leslie got the wild card, and then Tamara. So good squad there.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's such a huge thing to have that support in your community around you. And that's like the Mana team's the same way. I mean, I know when they go to races together and in big, and it's fun to watch and be a part of. And we just got to get you. I mean, you and Martin need to start training together or something. I don't know.
Yeah. He's at altitude somewhere. He was, I think he's in Park City or something.
Yeah.
Or Salt Lake City, I think.
Yeah. So, I mean, and you've done some of that altitude training too, right? Have you?
Yeah, I'm actually in Boulder, and it's, obviously we've kind of figured it out a bit where it's working. Just another one of those like pieces it's kind of fallen into place really well. So I'm back here, for another week. I've been here for a month and a half, almost 2 months, I think. And then after the PTO race, I'll go with Jackson immediately to Font-Romeu. So altitude in France, and then we'll go there for 2.5 weeks before going to 70.3 Worlds.
Wow. Just a packed year for you. That's for sure.
Yeah. That was a bit of a last second thing. I mean, I don't have a lease anywhere. So it's not like I'm able to just kind of move where the best training is. So I did Tucson for the winter, with a few friends, and then have a bunch of friends here in Boulder. So I moved here because it's just absolutely amazing here in the summer. And then Jackson was like, hey, like, let's go to Font-Romeu. Like, it'll be good to get over there, get rid of the jet lag, and then the altitude. And I've never done Font-Romeu, and I've actually never really trained with Jackson, but honestly, we get along really well. We've raced quite a bit, and we talk all the time because of the team. So, yeah, kind of experimenting a little bit with a new place, but I move all over the place and do new things, like new travel, new camps everywhere. So it's not like that. That's
we got to come up with a new IG name for you, the Nomadic Triathlete or something like that.
Honestly, yeah. Like the amount of places I've trained, lived is kind of crazy, but it's really fun. And I get to meet some really, really cool people.
Yeah, cool. And that's, I mean, one thing that you can definitely take from this sport. I mean, triathlon's got such a community everywhere you go, and people are so supportive. Yep. And I got to witness that even more so in Oceanside. It's like when you're racing in a community that gets it, and you hear about like Roth and some of the places like that. Just really cool. So why don't we get into some
long course a bit better? Sorry, that's why I like long course or 70.3 a bit better. Short course, you're kind of just going in, going out.
Yeah.
Quick. Of course, there's huge races like Hamburg and all these WTS races, lots of fans. But a lot of times you're just in and out. But long course, I feel like a lot like St. Anthony's and some of these Clash and Ironman races, like they let you get more involved, or they ask you to. And I love getting involved. I love either doing like transition or swim practices at these races, and because it's just enjoyable to meet people. If I can teach someone or help someone overcome a fear, especially in the swim. I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. I would love to do that. So I love it because it's just enables me, like long courses enabled me to kind of check a lot more of those goals I have for what I want to bring to triathlon, other than hopefully being a good triathlete.
Well, and as an age grouper, I can appreciate and thank you for doing that. I mean, those like I had that opportunity at Oceanside this year. I got to go for a shakeout run with Eric, Paula, and Nick, and I mean, doing stuff like that. I mean, that's just like that's so weird. Like I played soccer, I played basketball. You don't get that access to the professional triathletes or professionals in other sports like that. And literally just like, hey, who wants to go to a coffee shop and go for a 30-minute run? All right, I'll do that.
I mean, those three are so good for the sport. Yeah. And then Lionel, like seeing him in Oregon, like so good for the sport. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure out like my voice and how I can grow that, and what do people want to know. Like, so if you have any questions, listeners, let me know. I'll try my best.
Well, we'll make sure we drop all of your places to follow you and your Instagrams and everything on in the show notes for sure. Speaking of the listeners and questions, I know we did have a few that some of our team members had submitted, and some of the followers submitted as well. What would let's say, what are some like quick wins for, you talk about wanting to give some advice. What are some quick wins for an age grouper that you would give to like somebody just starting out, or maybe even in an elite age group? What are some quick wins that they can make adjustments with?
Just like across the swim, bike, or run, or specifically?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, just across the swim, bike, run. I mean, pick one or two of them and give a couple tips there, and maybe it helps them shave a few seconds or minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So the biggest one I like to say is just with nutrition, at least, or anything, like, not like kind of we talked about before we started the recording, is never do anything new on race day. So for me, like, I've slowly been dialing my nutrition, but I make sure to practice that on long rides and long runs. So of course it's not usually the same intensity, but if you can practice like the same carb load or the same amount of fluid, that can go a long way, because you don't want to obviously have gut issues during the race. So the more you can practice that, the more you can kind of dial that in and kind of leave a little note about how you feel. Did I feel like, do I have a lot of energy? Because you shouldn't feel dead. Like, of course, at the end of the race, everyone feels dead, but like fueling properly goes a long, long way. And I think it's still overlooked quite a bit. And then just some other ones are just like gear choice and placement of bottles, practicing filling your aero bottle. Also during an effort, don't like do it during your rest, because during a race, you're going to have to fill it. So practice putting in that bottle in and out of the cages while you're going hard, just because that's just going to pay dividends during the race. The more comfortable you feel doing all that during practice, the more it's going to translate to races.
No, those are huge tips. And we talk about nutrition a lot on this podcast, so our listeners will definitely appreciate that, even if it's just getting your body used to it, right? I mean,
exactly. It's huge. For the swim, I think a big thing is getting open water experience. That can be pretty hard depending on where you live. But just like practicing sighting, like in races, I've had a sore neck so many times, but it's gotten a lot better the more I swim open water, because you're just sighting more. You're getting used to that, looking up, and then like resetting those hips. You got to focus when you look up, your hips drop. So it's really good to think about your body position. And you can do a lot of these things in the pool. Sight for like lane, if you're in one of the lanes in the pool, sight for like a block or something, but try to sight for one that's not straight ahead. Like, because when you're sighting, you're obviously trying to go straight, but sometimes you're not going straight. So what you're looking for is not going to be in front of you. So I would if I'm in lane 1, I'm sighting for lane like 8 or 7, or working my way. And then just practicing that motion of lifting up and then resetting your hips. High hips lead to fast swimming.
That's something I'm going to be working on for years. That's a great tip, though. I never thought about that, like sighting to a different area. Well, that's a good one. We'll definitely get some feedback.
Yeah, that's important in races. I look for what the buoys are like. I try to always get to the first turn buoy and try to look at what that angle is after it. So you're not like doing a 90-degree turn where it's really, just an obtuse angle. It's really not that much of a turn. And then if it's sunny, like knowing where the sun's going to be for your race time, that can of course be pretty tough. But having like an object to like sight for, like a tree or a building that's off to the side. Okay, it's like whatever, 30, 40 feet to the left. But as long as it's 30, 40 feet to the left when you're sighting and the sun's in your eyes, that could really help.
Do you ever, does that factor into what goggles you wear that morning too, depending on the sun?
Sometimes. I actually was talking to, people are surprised by this, but I actually always race with clear goggles. In Oregon and at St. George, like staring into the sun, no matter what color goggle you're wearing, it sucks. Yeah. And I found that the clear, I actually feel a lot warmer. So like at St. George, it's freezing cold. So and then like less claustrophobic. And they seem like if they fog, I use anti-fog. That's another huge tip I'd say. I always use anti-fog and never rely on what's on the goggles. Even if, it's a brand new pair, it could fog. If it's a cold water swim, your body heat can fog that. So I just never risk it. I always use this Arena. It's not a plug. I swim for Blue 70. I work for Magic 5, so not a plug there. I use it because it's instant. You don't need to rinse it. So if you can't get to the water to rinse your goggles, it's not going to hurt your eyes.
Awesome. No, it's a huge thing, and I'm a big Magic 5 fan myself, so I can appreciate that one. All right, one crazy question, and then we'll let you plug some of your socials and things like that. But what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten during a race?
So my first two 70.3s, my go-to snack on the ride was a honey bun. So in transition, I would like strip my wetsuit, put my helmet on, and I'd grab like one of those, it wasn't quite the gas station ones. It was a little bit smaller. And I'd put it in my back pocket. And then somewhere on the course, usually like 25, 30 miles in, I would eat it.
How do you clean your hands?
I don't know if I would
That's impressive.
I'll leave it in the plastic. So I think I'll just eat it in one bite. But yeah, you get so sticky in races. Like nutrition is all sticky. Like I run, my run nutrition is maple syrup. So my hands get pretty sticky if the bottle leaks a little. Yeah.
And we've cleaned our bikes enough to know how sticky they get after a race.
Yeah. We're not nice to our bikes, and race day, like nutrition, I should say, isn't nice to the bike, but as long as you clean it, it's fine. But race day, especially, like things just splash, you're hitting bumps and it's just going everywhere.
I'm happy when I get out of transition onto my bike and haven't lost all of my nutrition in my
Yep. Oh yeah, I guess and then if you do a rear cage, if you have a rear cage, just a thick rubber band over the top helps so much. So I can send you a picture of my setup. I saw some other pro do it. And that's all it takes is just a rubber band. And you're even able to pull it out. I'm able to pull it out of the cage with the rubber band on. It's not like you have to unlatch it to grab it.
Yeah.
But I've lost the first 3 70.3s I did. I lost all the bottles off the back cage. I was like, that cannot happen.
No.
And that's on the athlete. That's not like any course issue. It can be avoided.
Right. Yeah, and no matter how bumpy it is, it can be avoided for sure. Yeah. Well, let's talk about the road ahead. We talked about PTO and 7.3 Worlds. Kind of what's your goal for the rest of the season in a big picture, and then kind of going into next year?
So big picture, like I'd be really happy at the end of the year if I can dip into the top 40 or 50 of the PTO rankings. Top 30 would be amazing. And that is a nice payday. So then, just gain momentum, race to the best of my abilities, and hopefully get some more podiums and get some more traction and just keep this momentum ball rolling. It's just been so much fun, and I'm really excited to keep pushing.
Well, it's been an awesome season and quite the launch from previous years into this year, and I hope it does keep going. So thanks for joining us, Marc. It's been awesome chatting with you. Hopefully I'll see you out on the course at some point. And
definitely. You said you're coming to Milwaukee, so hopefully I meet you in person there. And sorry about the technical issues, but we got it working.
No worries. We got to get through the problems that happen on race day. So it happens in podcasting too.
I've told people about this. There needs to be a podcast, and maybe you do this or someone, Continental Cup stories. Like the amount of crazy things that have happened is like, you wouldn't even believe some of these things during races, before races, like to me, but just like around the world of what people I've heard. It's kind of crazy.
That's a good one. I'll have to jot that one down. Well, how can people find you? What are you on social the most? Where should people come follow you?
Yep. So I'm most active on Instagram. I'm on Facebook too, but I'm Dubrick 7. And then I used to do YouTube. I kind of want to get it back. So if that's a good outlet for me to give swim tips, I'd love, to hear what people want to know about or what what they'd be interested in a YouTube video. But yeah, mostly Instagram.
Awesome. Well, we'll make sure we put that in the show notes, like I said, and really appreciate your time, and good luck at PTO, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
As always, thank you so much, guys, for joining me here. It was so much fun to chat about all the racing and training and have a little chat with a pro and hear his thoughts on the weekend. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next week. Again, go follow us on Instagram at Another Triathlon Podcast and check out the show notes. We'll put links to our social media posts and a few other things there too. Josh, Betty, have a good night. We'll be chatting again soon.
Awesome.
Have a good one too. Good luck at your race this weekend.
Yeah, good luck, Jenna.
Appreciate it, guys.